everyone, this is Shel from Paper Rock TO Studio, and today I'm sharing with you a love-hate challenge that I'm doing with Mike Deakin Art. His video and channel link will be below, so you can check him out if you haven't already. I'm starting out my page with some white gesso, and the reason I'm doing that is to add a little bit of sealant to my page, which is mixed media paper, and also to add a little tooth because I'm going to be using pan pastels. And I'm going to be using brown, which is my least favorite color. I do not like it. And that's what this whole challenge is about, is using a color that you don't like combined with a color that you do like. My second color will be teal, and I think brown and teal or blue and brown look good together, so that's why I'm doing it. So how did this challenge come about? I was watching one of Mike's art journaling videos, and he said that he didn't like purple. Can you believe it? He said he didn't like purple. Come on, really? So I made a comment to him that one day I would challenge him to do a page with colors that he hates, and he said, let's do it. So we're doing it. So this is really fun, and I'm excited, and I hope that you enjoy my video with this icky color. Sorry, all those brown lovers out there, but I really don't like it. And his least favorite color, which is purple. So my pan pastels are being applied using the sponge tool that comes from the company. It's not a makeup sponge like it looks like it is. It's actually a dense foam sponge, and you can clean it by just rubbing it off on a paper towel or kitchen roll, whichever you want to call it. And so I cleaned it off between the brown and the blue, and now I'm just using a couple different colors of a tealish bluish tone to fill in my sky. But I can see that there's a couple wet spots where my clear gesso wasn't completely dry, and they attracted the pastel and glumped up there. So I'm going to have to fix that later. Before I do that, I'm giving it another coat of clear gesso to seal it up, and then heat tooling it to get it dry so that I can move on and add some more pastel with these little sticks that are also from the company. And you can put those little sponges on them, and I've got some squarish ones and some round tip ones. I think that somewhere in my stash I must have a pointy tip one as well, but I didn't grab that one. And I'm just using some of the pastel to make like sandy rocky areas in my browns, and I'm still just using the browns from this little set. There's a couple siennas, and if you really need to know, I'll let you know exactly what colors pan pastel I used, because I can't remember right off the top of my head. And then I wanted the top of the sky to be a little bit darker and then to blend into the lighter color in the middle. And so I'm doing that with the flat tipped one, and just kind of holding it completely flat on the paper and rubbing it across, and then blending it with a little white. These things are interesting, and the pastels, still haven't used them as much as I should, and I plan to. Pretty fun to play with. But you remember I was telling you about how I had that glumpy stuff where the clear gesso wasn't dry or was clumped up too much or something. So I'm blending that using a baby wipe and some white gesso. And I'm also just kind of like blending and adding in some cloud-like formations into my sky. And that's actually working pretty well. You know, I like mixed media, as in I like to mix up all the medias. So I've got clear gesso, I've got pan pastel, now I've got white gesso, and I plan to add more. I'm going to mix them all up on this page. That's just how I do it. So I'm giving that a dry, and then I'm starting with my focal image, which I'm actually going to draw. And what this drawing is, and I know you can't tell yet, this is a desert tortoise. When I thought about brown, and I thought about trying to come up with something beautiful that's brown, well, I do live in the desert, and everything here is brown. It's tan, it's taupe, it's brown, it's rust, it's gold, it's all those colors. And I was laughing to myself because in my neighborhood, I once heard my neighbor say that all our houses are baked potato houses because they're brown on the outside and they're white on the inside. And this is true. This is very true. We all live in a stucco house. You know, it's got a red tile roof or a tan tile roof, and they're probably painted some form of Navajo white on the inside. Although I haven't visited every single house, so you can see I'm surrounded by browns. I'm inundated by browns, and that's probably why I just don't love the color. It's just there's just too much of it. It's like, come on, give me some bright colors. I should move to a tropical island, then I'd probably love brown. But anyway, that being said, what is something beautiful that's brown? Well, I tell you what, this animal is beautiful. His shell is like a mosaic, or like, I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but I'm going to try to say it. I think it's pronounced cloisone or something like that. Anyway, that enameling, that really cool enameling that was popular a while back, where things were all on a pendant and it was all like these different colors of enamel. The shell on this animal looks like that, and this animal is I don't believe it's on the endangered list anymore, but it's in danger of being endangered, um, because of habitat. You know, we're ruining all the animals' habitats. We all know that we're doing that. So this animal is being bred in captivity, and they do that here in Tucson where I live. And you can adopt one if you agree to many rules and you take some classes and you build a habitat. This animal could outlive you. They live 100 years. And so you really you have to know that it might outlive you, and you'll need to make arrangements for someone to care for it. And you have to learn about what it eats. It's an herbivore. You have to build it a habitat, which is kind of a dirt hutch sort of a situation, like a cave. And you have to provide for it, but you can adopt them if you're really committed to doing that. So after I've drawn my desert tortoise and I've covered him with some gesso. I drew it with pencil, then I went over it with the Stabilo All very water reactive pencil. And then I used white gesso to blend all that out and to seal everything in and make it all one color. And now I'm going to do some collage, which I love collage. And if you've been watching my videos, you've seen these boxes before. These I call my color boxes. And I sort all my scraps into plastic boxes that used to contain teeny tiny cinnamon rolls. My mom likes those, and so she saves the boxes for me when she's done with the cinnamon rolls. And then I just, I have jelly prints here. I've probably got a little bit of scrapbooking paper, roll off paper from when I was jelly printing, or just cleaning off my brush, that type of stuff. And all these little scraps get sorted by color and into these boxes, and then I have them on a shelf. And, I've got orange and pink and purple, and this is my brown box. So I got out my brown box, and I kind of pulled out a few different tones of different colors. So I wanted a dark to light. And then with these little shapes that the desert tortoise has on his back, I kind of traced around on some deli paper, which you could also use tissue paper, to make some little patterns. And then I cut a stack of papers, going from darkest to lightest out. And then with each layer that I'm attaching, I'm making it slightly smaller. So it's building up this thing that looks like what the back of a tortoise looks like. They have the bumps on the back. It's not smooth. It's not like a smooth rounded back. It has these bumps that come up, and they look like little stacks of paper. Or, well, it looks like stacks of scales kind of, or something, but it's all connected. It's hard for me to describe. But my process that I'm doing here as I'm creating this tortoise is how I think that I can give a little dimension and a little bit of color to give you the idea of what it looks like. Believe me, it's way more beautiful than what I'm doing, but I'm having fun. I love to collage. I love to glue paper to paper. If you've watched my videos before, you know this. This is something that I love to do. I also decided to collage the undershell just with one piece, not doing the stacking, because the scales, I guess you would call them, are not as pronounced on the bottom of the animal. There still are some lines, but it's not the same. It's not that big stacked up layering look. So I'm just using the one print that's kind of a tan color with other brown colors on it. It's a really pretty jelly print. Really, really pretty. I believe the video when I made it actually exists on my channel. I might go look for it if I remember and add a little card up in the corner so that you can look at how those were made. They were made with junk. That one was made with toilet paper rolls that I made a tool out of. So anyway, I've got my collaging done. I did cut a tiny bit out just for length. And then I've got some Bombay India inks. I'm looking around for things in my studio that are brown because I don't like the color very much, so I don't have a whole lot of products that are brown. Like, I don't have a lot of different acrylic paint colors that are brown. But luckily, India inks and this white acrylic blend really well together. And so I'm adding a couple different colors and blending into something that's close to that paper that's on the bottom of the shell. I wanted it to be similar to that color, which is kind of a tan, goldish tan. So I'm giving his face and hands, arms, whatever, I coated that. And then I'm going in and doing shading with the darker brown and a little bit of gold, a little bit of white. I'll be doing this for a while. So, you know, you can watch. And I'll talk because that's what I do. I'm going to end up bringing in that darkest brown as well in a minute. And then I'm going to run out of that brown and I'm going to spill a whole bunch of it when I try to get some more. But anyway, that's another story. So what else to say about desert tortoises? They get really big. Like big. Like maybe 3 or 4 feet across. There's a place in Tucson called the Desert Museum, which is really a silly name for it because it's actually more like a zoo, sort of. But it's for conservation and education, and you can watch a raptor show. They have hummingbirds, they have butterflies, bees, some of the desert cats, things like that. And I've seen desert tortoises out there. That's how come I know what they're like. And the ones that they have are old and big. But of course, the ones that you can adopt from there are babies. So they're probably only like, 8 inches or something, or a foot. So the skin is very reptilian on them. It's bumpy and kind of scaly and spotty. And so I'm trying to add that as I'm doing my painting. Blending my India inks with a little bit of acrylic as well. Because I don't have a white India ink. I'm sure that there's another. In fact, I absolutely know there's another kit of Bombay India inks that probably has white in it. But this one does not. And I'm kind of giving him a little bit of personality. He's looking a little bit grumpy, but I think that if you lived 100 years in the hot sun and you lived in a hole, you'd probably be grumpy too. So that's where I go in and add the darker color, the darkest of the browns. There's where I go and spill way too much of that medium brown. And there's no way to get it back in the bottle, I don't think. So it's kind of going to go to waste. So I'm adding a little bit of that darkest color around his shell in between the places that I collaged. Just add a little bit more definition. And then I'm painting in the under scales. I probably should go learn what those are called. I don't think it's scales, but yeah, I don't know. So this challenge has been really fun. I have seen Mike's page and I know that it's beautiful. So be sure to go check it out. Mike and I really like his channel. I don't know that he knows me that well, but I've been watching him for a while. And we're so different. He's very, very tidy. He cleans up in between layers. His table's always cleaned off. He's orderly. He's on time. He had his video done way before me, because I'm last minute Lucy. I'm messy. I'm a disaster. I like purple. I like pink. He doesn't like those colors. He likes brown. He likes to do things that are vintage. Obviously, he's a guy and I'm a girl. And, we have so many differences, but yet we are 100% united in art. And that is what's amazing about art. You'll meet people that you never thought you'd meet, and you have so much in common, even though you really don't have anything in common. You know what I'm saying? Do you feel me? You know what I'm saying? So I'm very excited to be doing this collaboration with him because I think it really will represent what we're all about and let the world know that art is a great form of communication among diverse peoples and populations. So now I've got potting soil archival ink. I figured out I had a brown ink pad. Who knew? And I'm doing the edges because I think that edges need to be edged. I just like it better. Every time I do it, I feel better about the piece. And then I've got some splattering going on. I guess I missed a spot. I splattered with some of that excess ink that I had that I spilled onto the brown parts, and then I used the gold as well, and it really starting to make it look like sand. And then now I did white spatters with my fan brush. And now I've got some words, and I wanted to add some more of that teal color into the composition. So I edged these with my metal ruler and my Faber-Castell pit pen in kind of a turquoisey teal color so that they would already be edged before I put them on. I didn't want to draw around them because I wanted the color to be on the white paper. And these are just printed off with my inkjet. Because I'm not using a super wet glue, it doesn't smear. It's not a big deal. I'm using a paste style matte gel. This one happens to be from Golden because my favorite Liquitex one is about empty. And I don't have the money right now to buy some more. So, going to use the Golden up too, and maybe after that, I think I have some really old Yes paste I might use. I don't know. Now I've got my white Posca pen, and I am doing my doodle layer, which is the last thing that I do. Add doodling with my Posca pens because I just enjoy it. So I'm just kind of going around in a not precise fashion and giving some more highlights to the shell, and then adding some more highlights to the scales and his little face. He's not really frowning. That's just the way they look. He was born that way, so give him a break. And let's see, what else do I do? Oh, then I decided I need something for him to eat because he's an herbivore. He needs plants. But I didn't want to add green because that would be adding a color that wasn't originally in the plans. So I decided to just make silhouette plants using black and then going over it with my white pen at the end to highlight that. I hope you enjoyed this page. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you enjoy Mike's video. And maybe I'll challenge somebody else who says they don't like a color that I like. I don't know. I might. You never know. I mean, really, purple? Come on. Who doesn't like purple? Thanks so much for watching. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, share it with your friends, pin it on Pinterest, whatever. And I believe that's it for me. Here come the close-ups. Thanks. Bye-bye.